All right, everybody, good evening and welcome. We're at Daddy's Pizza here in Claremont, New Hampshire, 50 Pleasant Street. And we want to thank you all for joining us for our first ever Facebook Live for Claremont Speedway. We appreciate you taking time out. Tonight we have Steve Furr alongside of me, and our 2016 Modified Champion Joey Jarvis is with us tonight, so we appreciate you watching. You can send us your questions for Joey. We'll ask Joey the questions. You can ask anything on the table. He said he doesn't care what it is, so fire away at him. You know, just try to stay away from politics and football, though. Those are the only two things you don't want to talk about. But anyway, Joey, congratulations. Thank you for being here. We greatly appreciate it. You won the 2016 Modified Championship by 7 points over Nick Bovin. And what was an exciting up to the last week. You had 4 wins during the season. Let's talk about your 2016 campaign. How do you think it went for you? Obviously, you won the championship, but otherwise.
Yeah, it went pretty well overall. Had some ups and downs, had some engine trouble, had a lot of good people backing us up, so racing was good. I was very happy with it. There's no complaints.
Yeah, the first week of the year, I think you ran away from the field, and that sort of set the tone. I think you had 2 firsts and a second, and then you had one bad week where you finished 11th. You came back, you won the next week, and then I think the following week you had motor issues. Was that it? Yeah, and you had to borrow one from your Uncle Dwight, I believe?
Yep, we did, the old stump puller.
And then from there, history speaks for itself. You wrote it out, and you beat Nick by 7. You know, for me, I sat there and watched you down in Victory Lane the last night on championship night, and you pulled down. I think you finished 5th that night, and you came down, and it was an emotional night anyway for you, for what you dealt with that day, and you and your friends. And then I looked over at your father after you won your Modified Championship night. He was pretty emotionally touched too, just like you were. So it was a pretty special moment between father and son.
Yeah, really, all of us. I mean, we did it as a family. It's me and my uncle, my dad, my sister, my girlfriend Sherry, my mother. My crew's mostly girls. I'm not lying when I say that. Really, they do a lot of the work. So it was a true family ordeal, and it means a lot when you can succeed with your family. And to have Uncle Dwight on the track with us, racing with us each week, there's a lot to be learned there. So I'm still trying to pick that up when I can. Dad's in my ear, helping me out. So.
Yeah, your father had a very successful racing career too. So, I mean, who do you feel you drive more like? Do you drive more like your dad, or you drive more like your uncle? Or who gives you the most advice, or what do you take it in and try to use it, or does it just go? Your father talk to you like most fathers do with their sons, and the son's like, yeah, whatever, Dad, I'll do whatever I want to do. And
I can say I do my best to listen. I'm stubborn at times. I've been told I drive more like my uncle, which is a huge compliment. I appreciate that. And Dad's taught me a lot too, mostly by example.
Yep.
I got to run with the Modified with him a little bit, a couple of runs at Claremont, which he did. He beat me a couple times, so duly noted that. Now, I've had a lot of good teachers, and I still do. I try to learn something new each time you go out, each time you have a conversation with somebody. You got to take away something from it. So.
That's good. Who were your sponsors last year? Who helped you business-wise and family-wise? You had a ton of sponsors.
Yeah, I mean, American Tire and Brake right off the bat. Jack Murray and Jeffrey have helped me for so long. I can't remember. I've always had American Tire and Brake in my car, so they're huge. Cheever Tire, Dennis and Deb Albro, they're like family to me. Mm-hmm. They got me started in a modified, tour-type modified.
You ran their modified before?
I did, yeah. Ran a whole season for them on the MRS at the time, True Value Series.
Yep.
Boy, sponsors wanted, I guess.
So if anyone wants to sponsor a championship driver, Joey Jarvis is looking for sponsors for the upcoming campaign. You are racing this year with us?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Just want to make sure that's out there, too. He still has to register his car, so we're waiting for that registration paperwork. But just kidding, Joey. Yeah, so that, for you started, I think you said at 12, you started racing at 12 years old.
Yep.
So you've already been racing 13 years. And you have 4 championships, 4-cylinder, right? You have a 4-cylinder championship.
Yep, you got a couple 4-cylinders, Lightning Stock or Limited Sportsman, whichever it is now. One of those, and then this modified one.
So which one means the most to you?
Oh, this one by far, for sure. We did it, like I said, just a family, small crew, every other week on a kind of a limited budget, borrowed parts. I mean, we fought hard for this one. Mm-hmm. It was hard to get there each week, let alone do well. So
the modified division at Claremont is very competitive. I mean, we talked about earlier that between you have a touring division where the drivers are competitive. Claremont's drivers are the division itself, from top to bottom, are very competitive drivers. And on any given week, I mean, we think we had 4 or 5 different drivers win this year, but everyone was very competitive. So I think that says a lot about the division itself.
Yeah, well, it says a lot about the division, and it says a lot about the organization that has it. I mean, we really appreciate having a place to race these cars, not where you got to drop $2,000 a week to go. I mean, that's no exaggeration. If you want to run on the tour, get your wallet out. It's going to cost you a couple $1,000s to show up. And at Claremont, it's not like that. The racing was clean. We're on a tire rule, and you're drawing guys like Joey Jarvis, Sean Boudreau, Bucky Demers, Russ Hersey, Kirk Alexander. I mean, that's a pretty stout crew. I mean, I'm proud of running with those guys.
Yeah, I think that in this year too, we had. I mean, Kirk Alexander showed up. Todd Patton had trouble. We had drivers from Connecticut come up and race, so that it says quite a bit about the division itself. So you have to be very proud of your championship. So you started at 12 years old racing 4 cylinders. What advice, or how have you changed? Obviously, in the 13 years, you're more mature. But what advice would you give to someone who's that young, starting off racing?
Focus on your driving, not on your car. My father wouldn't let me adjust my car for the first whole year I started, and he said, "You're gonna have to drive it. You're gonna have to drive it." And I was slow to start out with, and we finally rented the track one day, and he got in it because I was complaining about the car, and he went around the whole racetrack and never let off the floorboard with it. So he said, "I'm not adjusting your car. Figure it out." So that's what we did, and I think it made me a better driver for it, and it definitely helped me learn a lot about car control and keeping your momentum up. And don't rush out of a division. You know, if you're having fun, stay where you're having fun. That's the biggest piece too. That's what we're here to do, is have some fun. And if it gets to the point where you're not, reevaluate and make it so you are.
And obviously, you're having fun on the modifieds.
Oh yeah.
Plan on running those for a long time? Is that your intention, or are you looking beyond that?
No, modifieds is going to be it until I can't afford that, and then I'll get something. I'll never quit, but it's, this is ultimately where I want to be.
Yeah, they tend to. We took a poll recently on the Speedway Facebook page. It was sort of down the middle between super streets and modifieds. And for me, as going to Claremont Speedway as a kid, we always loved the modifieds. It's something about the modifieds. So even today, when you hear them come out, it's pretty amazing, and just the power, and it's good racing, good clean racing too. I mean, the division this year was very clean, not many issues whatsoever, and that made it that much better. It sort of gave value to the division as a whole, and drivers would want to come race with you guys.
Yeah, I can't say enough about it. The racing was excellent. We came into it kind of not knowing what we were going to end up with, or a tire package, or how many cars we were going to get, or is this even going to work? And overall, I think it turned out pretty well. On our best night, we had over 20 cars one time, didn't we?
Something like that. Yeah, I believe so.
That's a lot to be said. Your first, real full season out there.
Yep.
So.
And we're looking for good things from that division this year too. So hopefully that'll take place. Anything yet, Steve, from anyone on outside? You send your questions into Joey. He's more than willing to answer your questions. Like I said, anything's on the table for him.
No questions yet.
All right, so we'll just continue on. Let's talk a little bit about your family. Obviously, your father, helped you out. Your uncle Dwight. What are like the family gatherings like? Do you guys talk racing the whole time, or?
Well, not
you
the
guys
whole
pit
time.
you guys pit next to each other too at the track, and it's probably nice. I assume you both help each other out. You're lucky in that sense to have that kind of, from the family perspective, have that kind of mentoring from both sides. Do you feel there's any pressure on you as a driver to perform because of that heritage, or do you just do your own thing?
I mean, I'd be lying if I told you no, but I try not to let it get to me. I was even telling the guys last year, I didn't want to race for points initially. I just wanted to go, have some fun, take it on a week-to-week basis, and see how we ended up. But coaching and good finishes and a little extra drive. You want to go out and win, of course. You came off a bad run. So the way it ended up working out was great. But as far as getting pressured, I never once have been told you need to do this because of who you are. No. So do the best you can. Yeah,
there was one night I think you had won a race, and we had talked before the beginning of the night, and I think I'd asked you the points question. And you said basically at that point, I'm not running for points right now. I can't pay attention to that. I just have to run out and get best finishes. Yeah. Which is something you said, because I think some people, sometimes they did point race and it cost them in that case. I mean, it's still early enough in the season, and you did battle with Bovin all the way through. It was a great points chase.
Definitely. It's hard to beat somebody like that never really messes up or has a bad night. So though he didn't get a win this year, I mean, he was the most consistent finisher.
Yeah,
week
he had the
in,
best.
week out,
He had
so-
the best average finish, the lowest average finish in the division.
Yeah, so I mean, there's something to be said for that. It was fun, a good clean race. We bumped wheels a couple times. I felt bad for once. I sent him around. We chatted about it, and we were good for the rest of the year. And I can't say enough about the guys we ran with. It was excellent, really.
In 2017, what are your expectations this year? Are you looking to repeat? Are you going to do the same philosophy? You're just going to run and whatever happens? Or is there pressure on you to repeat? Or are you going to put that pressure on yourself?
I'm not going to, no. I mean, you can't control what happens in a race much beyond the confines of your own car. So you just have to go out and try and do the best you can each week. And, if we totally stuff the thing one week, I can't promise I'll be back the next. But we're going to try to take it week by week and see how we do. With any luck, we'll have a good year like last year.
And you've raced at numerous tracks because you were part of the modified racing series. As far as what track's the most fun for you to drive? You can say whatever you want. You don't have to say Claremont Speedway. Any track what's the most fun that you have driving at? That, was it Canaan? Was it Monadnock? Was it one of the ones down in Connecticut?
It wasn't Monadnock. Anybody who knows me closely knows that I can't stand running that place. People around me, it's nothing to do with the track ownership or anything like that. It's having to do with every time I get down there, I either win or wreck hard. So Claremont is a great place to race. It's wide. You can put the power down. So it's a lot of fun. For me, in my driving style, I like running the round tracks in Maine. So Beach Ridge, Oxford, where you got to really manage your throttle, manage your tires, and don't mess up a momentum race. So I really like Oxford probably the best.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Got some questions over there, Steve?
Yeah, it says 10 comments, but I can't get to it right now.
Someone wants to know if you use beard cream.
Question was, someone wants to know if Joe uses beard cream.
I have before, but not currently, no.
Another question is, what's the fastest you've ever driven a car?
Fastest he's ever driven a car. I hope the police department is not watching.
65 miles an hour.
Someone else is asking, are you bringing Dwight?
I hope so, if he wants to. I'm going to try and help him as much as I can this year. Like I said, I want to learn what I can while I can. So if he chooses to race with us, I'll be ecstatic. If not, I'll be getting my pit crew gloves on and following him. So.
Yeah, you're lucky to have that.
Yeah.
You're lucky to have that mentoring. That is for sure.
It's huge.
The 04. Curious. Is it because your father was 4 and you didn't want to be 4, or
no guesses? None.
no?
It's the year I started.
Oh, was it?
Yep.
Interesting. Did not know that.
Yep. So the year I started, we put the number on there. It kind of just worked out that way because Dad was 4 anyway, so
Yep.
I went 04 and just have kept it since, with the exception of when I ran the 9 New Hampshire
Yep.
for the Albros.
And you had some success on the modified racing series. Did you enjoy your time running for the Albros, or?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that was probably some of the most fun racing I've had. You're hitting a track with guys like Mike Stefanik, Ted Christopher, Keith Rocco, the big guy. The big guys that you look up to. Hirschman's. That's the place to get educated. Real quick.
So what did you learn? What did you learn? Did you get anything from them, watching them, following behind them, and things of that nature?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You learn how to get around the place. You learn basically when they pass you, how they passed you, and you try to follow them. And it's easier said than done. That's for sure. So, yeah, the experience is so worth it, and I'm very grateful for that.
Good. You have a hobby that you use. Is it Sundays? You guys? Is it Sundays? Most of you guys do it.
Yeah.
RC racing.
Yeah.
Talk about that a little bit, because that's pretty cutthroat with you guys too, isn't it?
Oh, it's the real deal. It's toy cars, but real racing. So you're getting down there. We got anywhere between 26 and 32 cc gas engines on a 5th scale buggy or short scale, truck.
Yep.
And we're out there running them hard. It's Dad and my buddy Chris Riendo's got one. Tom Robinson, my cousin Dwayne, has kind of got us hooked on it. So he's been piloting that program for us. And we ended up, I think, with somewhere between 20 and 25 cars got out there this season. And It's an absolute ball. If you haven't seen it, you got to come check it out.
Absolutely, I'd love to do it.
They're like little miniature sprint cars.
I've seen the track. It looks pretty competitive. I think I saw someone take someone else out on one of the turns, and yeah,
it's been known to happen.
All right, you don't do that. You don't get it done on the dirt, not on the asphalt. That's all.
That's right. You're more apt to take chances in a car like that when you're not sitting in the seat. It's not really going to hurt so bad if you go end for end. So
it's not expensive to fix either.
That's right. Just remove a zero from the end of the price of a race car part. Then you got an RC part.
What's your favorite type of racing? I think you like Formula. Do you like Formula One racing?
Oh, yeah.
Why do you like it? Is it the open wheels?
Open wheels, fast cars, and the best drivers in the world. There's no other way to say it. Lewis Hamilton is the best, hands down.
And
Douglas is going to come on here and argue with me about something.
Here he comes. Douglas, if you're going to comment in, now's the time. We have the conversation over F1 racing, if you want to have it. I was curious. I think I'd seen somewhere on social media that you loved F1 racing. In fact, you taped some races so you could get your fix during the off season.
Yeah, scratch my itch this winter.
Yeah. And nothing with NASCAR. Do you follow the Wheel and Modify Tour or anything of that nature?
Yeah, I'll follow them. I don't hit all the races or anything like that, but I definitely stay posted on the results. The Cup Series, I usually sleep for the first hour and a half or so, and tune in for the last 50 laps.
Well, this year it's going to be different because of the segment racing back.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
The New England Short Track Showcase. Are you up in Loudon?
We'll see.
All right, I tried to get him folks to commit to doing it. I'll work on him. We'll do another one when the season gets going. I'll ask him in the pits, and maybe I can get him to.
Sponsors wanted.
Okay, there you go. He keeps plugging that. Okay, you're 2 laps to go in a race, big money race. You're leading. Who do you not want to see in your rearview mirror?
Anybody. No, just at our track or
anywhere. I mean, you can do both. If you want to do our track, and then you can do
at our track from last year. The last person I would have wanted to see behind me, I did see him a couple times. Russ Hersey. That thing was quick. Warren's car. I can't say that he wasn't. He was quick.
He was quick. Yeah.
So I didn't really like looking in the mirror and seeing that with a couple to go. Of course, my uncle, my father, any of those guys, a veteran. You don't want to look up and see a veteran. Let's take past drivers. Who do you wish you had a chance to race with? Now, you probably, when you were growing up, you were at the track. Obviously, you watched tons of racing. Which of those drivers would you have liked to have raced with now? I started young enough, so I got a good chance to race with quite a few guys, but truthfully, I've heard so much about Punky Karen in his heyday. I would have wanted to get out there. He probably would have got into me a little bit, from what I hear. But that would have been excellent to run against Punky. I think back when he was, top dog.
Yeah, it would have been interesting to see. It's love to have those type of comparisons. With different eras of drivers and how they would compete with one another now with the equipment and things like that. So just interesting conversations to have.
And, if you get onto a week, just any old go-karts, Nintendo, something like that, week to week. Chris Riendo is the last guy you want behind you. Trust me, I know from experience.
He's not afraid to dump you?
No, he won't dump you. He'll just move you.
He can say that they're friends.
I love you.
Good friends, yeah. It's okay. Let's say you're an owner. You have a modified. Well, you do have a modified. Let's say you're not driving. Let's say you're 20 years from now. You want to put someone in the seat. What kind of skills are you looking for in a driver?
I'm looking for smart choices, race finishes. You got to finish the race often, and to a certain level, you're looking for ability, but ultimately, you're looking for somebody who can get out of the car, give you good feedback on how you can make it better. That's the main thing. If you have somebody who can tell you what the car is doing and can finish with it in one piece, you always have the ability to make it faster.
And you have that relationship with your dad, obviously. He understands why you're trying when you're communicating with him about how the car is acting. Mm-hmm. He understands exactly what you're saying. Is there any
I'm lucky
loss
enough
in translation?
With him, it's good enough that I don't really have to say. He can see it. He did it for 30 years as a driver before he let me take over. So I don't have to say a word most of the time. I can hop out and he goes, "Yeah, it's doing this, isn't it?" Yeah, pretty close. So
anything new?
Steve, are you getting them now?
Yeah, I can get them now.
Okay.
Somebody wants to know how much your race car cost.
how much a race car costs? Too much. Too much. Honestly, that's an older car. That's a 2004 chassis that used to be driven by Bruce Batchelder.
Oh, did it really?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, that was Bruce's car. Before that, actually, he sold to the Riendos, and we picked up off the Riendos. So I think when we bought just a rolling chassis, it cost us somewhere in the vicinity of $7,500, something like that, and then somewhere in the ballpark of $20,000 into the drivetrain. Over, you build this kind of thing up over years and years and years and years. I literally sold one complete Sportsman modified to buy a drivetrain, and my father sold his to buy this car off from Larry. So we kind of took everything we had, and here it is. That's our whole operation.
Wow.
So, and then that doesn't count, your week-to-week expenses, your spare parts, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, it's pretty easy to kill 30 grand.
Yeah, racing's not, especially the modifieds, is not a cheap
No,
investment.
and that's a conservative figure too. If you want to buy everything new, you're talking $80,000.
Yep. That's why you guys pay $55 to get in the gate.
So how many do you want, Toby? You want one, two?
If I won Powerball, I was saying that to somebody. If I had won Powerball, I would probably field a 3-team modified team. You'd be one of my drivers. I'd probably, I'd look at Aaron Fellows. I'd probably talk to him, see if he'd want to come drive a car, and then I'd figure out from there who the third driver would be.
You got to get yourself the Danica, bringing in the sponsorship money of the group.
I could. I could do that. I'd have to. Yeah, I'll have to. True, I should probably look at that as well. I have no interest in driving. That's why I announced, and I'm not even good at that. So
come on now.
Any more, Steve?
Yeah, somebody wants to know how much horsepower. Well, we already know that one, but you can tell them.
What do you turn for horsepower on your?
Out there running anywhere between 585 and 640 are the numbers I've heard. Tends to be hovering right around 600 horse. So that's a good competitive engine that'll put you in the front.
Yeah, some of the in-car video, I like to watch that. And you have some in-car video on YouTube or on your Facebook page, Jarvis Motorsports. And I just love the power of those things when you get on the throttle and you sit down in the seat. And yeah, it's going to be pretty explosive. Is it hard for you to get out of the car and then drive your regular weekly home?
Yeah, I don't drive home. I let Sherry drive home usually.
That's probably a good idea. Anything else?
No, we don't have anything right now.
Mike Douglas is picking up.
Yeah, Mike Douglas is all kinds of wisecracks.
Of course he is.
Handsome Joey.
We'd like to see Mike Douglas is here at the track, so we'll see you Saturday. We'll we'd love to have the 23 at the track this year.
Says he's going to take you out.
No, he won't.
He's got to catch him first.
He's got too much of a conscience to do that. Don't you, Mike?
Yeah, this. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. This year is going to be interesting too because there's a number of drivers that are coming back. You're going to have Scott McMichael's coming back. Supposedly Dana Smith is looking at coming back too. So you are going to have some competition this year as well, even though Nick is rumored not to be coming back.
I think if somebody had an open seat for him, I think you'd see him. So if anybody's got an extra car,
looking for a driver, and then obviously your uncle's a wild card if he were to race with us. So it could be, Boudreaux sold his car to McMichael, or Phil Chastity did to McMichael. So Sean's obviously retired, won that race last year. Is that the way you want to go out when you retire? You want to win a race and then say I'm done? And
that's the best way to do it, isn't it? Sean did it right for sure, and he's been at it a long time. So hopefully someday I'll be able to get to that point. I don't want to go out like Darrell Waltrip,
It's not as tight. Well, when I just lost my train of thought, I had a great question too. When you were younger driving 4 cylinders, who did you look up to as drivers?
At the time, it was the pro stock guys. You see Walt Hammond and even.
And you were at Canaan, right? Is that where you started?
Yeah,
Canaan?
Donnie Lashua, who's running for Jack Bateman now on the tour. I watch Donnie every week. He's a master of getting around Canaan Speedway. So that's the type of guy you have to watch and pick up from. Mike Brusso at the time was running up there. My father, Mike Parks. The pro stocks all together left Claremont and Monadnock and kind of started this racing group of them. They all did it together up in Canaan, which at the time was only open for big special shows.
Yep.
So that group of them up there was the elite. And of course the modified guys, and they tend to have long careers in the same division. So a lot of them, like you see Peter Daniels, Uncle Dwight, Jack Bateman, Bruce, the guys that were running at Claremont that was it. They were the big guns.
Do you have any? Would you go back to a full fender car?
Oh yeah.
You would.
Yep. I would.
All right. So if you have a full fender, if you pro stock, you want to throw Joey Jarvis in it too. He's willing to drive that for you as well. And you raced a weeklies at Canaan. Did you race weekly at Monadnock as well?
No, I never ran a full season at Monadnock. We'd basically go there when we had a free weekend, and we had the Sportsman modified. Had some pretty good luck down there. Had some pretty bad luck down there multiple times. So really, Claremont has been the track I've run the most full seasons at. Canaan, we ran probably three full seasons. And then full season on the MRS, and then spotting races here and there at various tracks, Star, and places like that.
Are you looking at, this year is probably too far, open shows at the end of the year, you're looking at, it's probably too far ahead to forecast that far?
It's really hard to say. Depends how the year goes at Claremont, honestly. If we find ourselves in a good position to go to some open shows at the end of the year, or maybe halfway through the year, we've got a 10-race schedule, so that's not out of the question. If we find ourselves in a position where we're able to, we will.
What other hobbies do you have? The RC racing. Any other hobbies?
Well, I was a musician through college.
You were?
I went to school to be a music teacher and played jazz saxophone and tuba.
No kidding.
Before in the concert band. Yep.
Well, we got someone that can play the national anthem this year. Then Joey Jarvis is going to play the national anthem for us. Do you still play?
From time to time, not nearly as much as I should, honestly. But you get busy, and in life, so it goes.
Do you still have any ambitions of pursuing that?
Yeah.
Music teacher?
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Hopefully your employer's not watching this now.
Yeah.
But
No, I like my job right now.
Yeah.
It's a good place to be. So I don't intend on up and leaving that to do anything else, honestly. I'm pretty happy.
Yep.
So.
And you went to Windsor High School?
Yep, I did.
And are you still good friends with the kids you went to school with?
Yeah, the ones that are here, I am, yeah. We see them pretty often.
Growing up, you probably your best friends were kids that were around the track, or were they?
Yeah, best friends growing up, Chris Riendo and Cody LaFont, and kids from Weathersfield, honestly. I can't tell you how many bicycles me and Chris ruined and how many cars we ruined, four-wheelers. We were hammering on stuff from a very young age. I can remember very vividly coming down through the woods on a four-wheeler with Chris Riendo, and he was trying to make it between a gap between two trees, and he comes through and just shears the right rear axle right off. Right off. So he comes up out of the woods with the axle and the tire on the back of the four-wheeler. And he's driving up out on three wheels, and we had to try and figure out, we're like 10, 11 years old, how to get this attached back together before Larry got home and was pissed. So,
well, hopefully Larry's watching. Does he know?
He knows now.
Right.
Yeah, we're terrible liars.
Chris is on here.
Oh, is he? Is he confirming the story?
No, he hasn't, but he has joined the conversation.
We had a four-wheeler chain race one time, too, and that was kind of our last stint on four-wheeler racing. They got us a Geo Metro to kill after that.
Things to do in Scotty, Vermont, folks. And you guys are still best friends now too. Yeah, around the track and very competitive, and it's good that you guys can still continue that friendship. What else about you should everyone know? When you're out there driving the 04, things like little tidbits of information. The fan. Anything else that's?
Really, you just try to go out and stay out of trouble and get a good finish. Don't take any chances that are going to put you out of the race, or it's a good chance to get out of the race. If you watch me, I'm not the guy really to go three wide very often unless I know it's a sure thing on the straightaway or something like that. And just not wrecking the car is what goes through your mind most of the time, because if you do, you might not be back next week. It's just the way it goes. But
it makes your week easier too, not having to be in the garage all the time
yeah.
working on the car, and you have a little more free time for yourself. It's been a pleasure for me to watch it this year. It's my first year at the track, and trying to learn everybody, and for me to watch you race, it was pretty exciting. The points battle coming down at the end between the two of you. That last night at the track, we had 3 divisions that weren't decided yet, so it came right down to the wire. So you had to pay attention to everything.
Not to mention a huge turnout for Cody LaFont that night. That was very special. To be able
it
to
was an
have
emotional night for
everybody
you.
there.
I remember. Yeah.
And Dylan's win at the end of the night. Oh my word! That was my favorite night of the year at the racetrack.
Yeah, it was definitely a special night. That is for sure. Anything else, Steve?
Actually, one of our young guns, Cole Littlewood, is moving up to modifieds this year, and he wants to know advice about moving up to the modifieds.
Advice to moving up to the modifieds. Get by yourself to start with. It's going to be touchy. They react a lot more quickly than a Super Street does, but just get yourself comfortable with the car and don't overdo it when you go out there. That's all you can do. You're going to fall right into it. It's going to be fine. I've watched the race. You'll be all set.
All right. Well, folks, we thank you for watching tonight's first Facebook Live for Claremont Speedway. I want to thank Steve Furlong as well as Kevin Furlong, who's filming tonight for us. I just especially want to thank 2016 Modified Champion Joey Jarvis for taking time out of his schedule tonight and joining us for our first of our Facebook Live events. Look to have more of these in the next couple weeks. Drivers to be determined. I hope you enjoyed it. We appreciate your feedback and look forward to the 2017 race season